Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. Hi.
All right, good morning, everyone. This is 9:30. Liz, we can get started.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I can't
My name
see.
is Liz Kukla. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I'm going to read the preamble for you this morning, this August 8th, 2022. Next slide, Maurice. In compliance with notification requirements of the city's open meeting law in section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Please note that calling users can unmute by using *6.
I don't know how to do all this.
Slide, Maurice. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for public view. We have provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak on a particular case via our website and email. All requests to speak on a particular matter have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comments on a particular matter. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Go ahead and call the roll, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Alana Faith will be absent this morning. Ms. Holzer.
Present.
Ms. Brown.
Present.
Ms. Barnes.
Present.
Ms. Britt.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. I also want to announce to everyone that we normally have 5 board members, and today we have 4. So if you get a 2-2 tie, your case will not go anywhere. So you are allowed to ask for a postponement today until we have a full complement of board members. Just wanted to give you that information to use. If not, you can move forward with your case. So it's up to you. Okay, go ahead, Liz.
Thank
No
you, Madam Chair. We do
postponements?
not have any postponements or withdrawals this morning.
All right, great. And I see Councilman Griffin is here today. So Ms. Holzer, we are going to start with his case. It's up on the screen now, actually.
We should be in this.
All right. So our first case is calendar number 22-132 at 7407 Union Avenue. TMS Enterprises proposes to establish a used car lot in a C2 local business district. The appellant appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 4. And with that, I'll hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Good morning. I am swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply, I do, state your name and your address, please.
I do. Blaine Griffin, 11810 Larchmont Boulevard.
That's for that case.
Stephen
That's for that case.
I do. Chris Alvarado, Slavic Village Development, 5620 Broadway Avenue, 44127.
I don't think we're good.
Is there an appellant here for this case? Please swear in. Is there a representative from TMS Enterprises?
Please note to unmute yourself. You can, those callers can use *6.
Okay, hearing no one, we'll put that on pause until we get to the other cases. Hopefully someone shows up. With that,
Madam,
so
Madam Chair, we do have another case from Councilman Griffin.
okay,
It's East 103rd.
all right, we'll go to that one.
That's the one that was postponed from June 27th.
Yes.
Correct.
Got it. All right, so calendar number 22-103, 3623 East 103rd Street. Team Hustle Management proposes to establish use as a residential facility for 5 occupants in a 1-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. And with that, I'll hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Thank you. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply I do, state your name and your address, please.
I do. Blaine Griffin, 11810 Larchmere Boulevard.
Again, is there an appellant for this case?
All right, Councilman, nobody wants you to talk today, I guess.
I'm glad
Um,
because I was going to object anyway.
All right, well, we have that on the record in case they come back. But,
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you.
All right,
But,
thank you. Have a good one.
thank
That
you.
would be Catherine Smith was the appellant that we emailed for this particular case.
Okay. They can
Just
always
so you
reach out
know.
to my office. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
All
And by
right,
the way,
so-
Madam Chair, on the other one, on 22-132, I'm just looking at the list here. We have Terry Taylor Sr. was notified for the one on Union Avenue.
Okay. All right, well, we'll go to the beginning. Ms. Holzer with Huff Ave.
Yep. All right, I'll wait till it's pulled up.
1 second.
All right, calendar, are we, okay, calendar
Yes, that's
number
it.
22-124, 7032 Huff Avenue. Suleiman Mumin, owner, proposes to establish use for outside storage of building materials in a D2 multifamily zoning district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 4. And with that, I'll hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Okay, I am swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply I do, state your name and your address, please.
I do. Suleiman Mumin, 1541 East 219th Street, Euclid, Ohio, 4117.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I believe Nicole Calhoun is here today on the staff. Nicole?
No, that's not my area. That's, I believe, Kim Scott's
Oh,
area.
I'm sorry. That's Kim Scott. I was thinking of the last case. Sorry about that.
I do. Kim Scott, Cleveland City Planning Commission, 601 Lakeside Avenue, room 501.
Thank you. Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We didn't find that much on this, excuse me, address. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. We only found in our records administration office that in 1891, a permit was issued to erect a dwelling. And then in 1940, a permit was issued to demolish a dwelling. There are no variances on file for this address and nothing of note in the more recent history.
All right, thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance and area variances from the fencing, parking, and driveway regulations of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Momine, go ahead, tell us what you'd like to do.
Hey, how everybody doing this morning? What I would like to do, I'm owner of a roofing company, and so pretty much I was using the building for storage, as well as a small office space for clients to come and look at shingles and pick out colors and things of that nature. Kind of how I got to this point was I wanted to pull the permit to do the driveway. I was going to really do the asphalt driveway, and that's when I was informed that it's a multi-family zone property. And so pretty much it cannot be used for anything outside of residential. So that's kind of how I got here.
Okay, so your variances here looks like there's use and also the driveway, and you were planning on paving and draining. Maurice, can you just kind of chime in on what exactly is missing here?
Well, the biggest issue here, I think, is the use variance in that it is listed as storing outdoor storage of construction materials, which I think is the biggest variance here that we're looking at.
Okay, great.
And then of course, if you do approve a variance for the outdoor storage of materials, it would require a 7-foot high opaque fence around the property, but that also conflicts with the fence regulations in a residential district, because this is in a 2-family district where, as you know, you're not allowed to have anything greater than a 6-foot fence on the rear and sides, and nothing higher than a 4-foot, 50% open fence on the front. So the requirements are contradictory, basically, because outdoor storage of construction materials is really not a good idea in a residential district. And we also have Kim Scott, the neighborhood planner, here as well.
Yeah, I was just trying to get that cleared up because I was reading one, and then, so as you said, it wasn't making a lot of sense, but now I get it. Okay. All right, Kim, you go ahead and chime in, please.
Yes, good morning. As Maurice stated, I mean, I don't have to repeat what he said, but the use is not consistent with future land use. As you may be aware, we have had extensive work in developing a draft of the form-based zoning code. And so this area is a pilot area where the form-based zoning is going to be applied. And just frankly, outdoor storage on this property would not be something we would want to have here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll open it up to the board for any questions or comments.
Madam Chair, I do have a question. I understand the discussion related to the outdoor storage of the roofing materials and it being inconsistent with current zoning as well as the planning that's happening along Huff. I heard Mr. Moomin mention he uses the building also for his company. Is that consistent with zoning, or would we also need a variance for that?
Yeah, we also need a variance for that. This is multifamily, so I don't believe office is permitted as well. So
I mean, Madam Chair, to Ms. Brown, I would just say that, you know, he's just using the internal of the building to meet with clients and look at building samples. You know, that's a completely different use than, you know, outdoor storage of construction materials. So I think that's the road you're going down. And so if I would not be I wouldn't object probably or have as much problem with that kind of a use. You know, also that I've noticed from pictures in the past, he has, and I've actually spoke to one of the neighbors in the area, and they said that this gentleman has done a really good job of cleaning up, you know, what was really a messy, unkept site, got rid of the graffiti, things like that. So, you know, but again, that's not what we were asked to look at. We were looking at outdoor storage of construction materials, which just, you know, I think everybody agrees would be inappropriate along Huff Avenue. We have some big plans for Huff Avenue going forward.
Thank you for the reply. That's it for me, Madam Chair.
thank you. Mr. Romine, you have your hand up?
Yes, I just also wanted to mention that the outdoor storage, I mean, that's really, for me, that's really minor because this, I mean, for me, it's not a million of my plans if it's a problem. I have no problem with not having anything outside. My biggest thing is just using the building. I mean, I've been doing updates to it, but I kind of stopped because once I was aware that I may not even be able to use the building, I kind of stopped with everything. So my biggest thing is just being able to use the building, do the lot, fence the property, have it looking nice. That's kind of my biggest thing versus me having shingles on the outside.
Okay. So Maurice, will that or Liz, so will that require him to resubmit or?
Madam Chair, that's probably a Liz and Rick Riccardi question because I don't know what he would view that as, you know, what classification he would put that at based on what the applicant is talking about. Liz or Ms. Kukla or Mr. Riccardi, either of you want to chime in?
It doesn't seem that the office use was mentioned. This is Liz, by the way. So it doesn't seem that the office use was mentioned. However, as an aside, we have done these in the past where we have granted a less intense use by variance. So I'm not sure how much would change. Maybe something with the parking would change, the parking count. But I would defer to Mr. Riccardi for that.
Contractor's office is still first permitted in semi-industry. So storage or contractor's office would still require the variance. And I think it's something you could consider if you desired today, but the magnitude of the variance is the same.
Yeah, I get that. I was just trying to see if we could grant something just for office use today, even though it wasn't advertised that way, or does he have to resubmit? So that's essentially what my question was. Anyone?
Madam Chair, I think that that we could today. I think that we could change the language to state that if you so choose to grant it today, we could just mention the use as a contractor's office and that no outdoor storage would be permitted at this time. I don't see anything about parking, so he must meet the code for parking. I think that's something that we could do. We can put that language in the notice of nonconformance. Again, he's requesting a more intense use as opposed to what you were considering granting. So I don't think a advertisement would be necessary.
Great. So I wanted to hear.
Madam
Go
Chair,
ahead-
the
go
other
ahead, Maurice.
issue would be I would not want a 6-foot high chain link fence across the front of the property on Huff Avenue, and I'm also wondering about the side street there. I believe that's East 71st Street. I'm not sure that we would want 6-foot high chain link fence, across both of those. I would rather see a 4-foot high decorative metal fence across the parking lot, and then you could leave the chain link on the back, on the rear of the property, and on the side of the property. But on the front, I think it would be much more consistent with the rest of what we're looking at on Huff Avenue to have a 4-foot high decorative metal fence of some kind across the front and East 71st. Miss Scott, did you want to weigh in on this?
No, I think that's reasonable along those street frontages.
And yeah, since he's not storing anything out there, it's not a security issue anymore. Mr. Mumin, will you be amenable to the changing the fence, as Mr. Rulins just stated, the 4 feet in the front, and you can keep the the chain link in the side and the back?
Oh yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
May I ask,
just to be
on that point, what is the height that we are discussing for the side yard and rear of the property?
It's currently listed as 6-foot chain link fence. Is what Mr. Woman is.
It says 7 on the calendar. That's why I'm asking.
No, that's what's required if you were going to be storing outdoor materials.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
6 feet. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
So just to be clear, I would be requesting for the 4-foot decorative fence on the Huff and East 71st sides, and then the rear and the other side we'd have no problem with the chain link.
Madam Chair, to Mr. Rowlands, is it necessary, I guess to the appellant, is it necessary for him to even have a fence at this point if there's no storage?
Oh, that's a good point as well.
Sir?
By being on a corner lot, there's a lot of traffic that kind of cuts through the property oftentimes. So I would prefer to have a fence up just to stop the traffic from cutting through.
Completely understand that.
Yep.
And so, Madam Chair, just one more question. Exactly
Yes.
where on this site plan would Mr. Rowlands want to see the decorative fencing? If he could show the applicant and me as well for the record.
Well, I would think right up against the parking would be fine as long as there's wheel stops in front of the parking. And I don't think there would be any problem with putting it on the property line against the sidewalk on East 71st either.
So, Mr.
I
Rowlands,
see.
that
Oh,
would
wait a minute. I see. The East 71st side is the side with the parking. So on Huff, I would have no problem either in the. I'm not sure what that. I'm not sure on the site plan that I'm looking at what is what, but I think it could go on the inside of the right off the fence line at the property line because it's just a decorative metal fence or a decorative fence that's at least 50% transparent. It would be fine to be right on the property line. So just on the inside of the fence, and then on the East 71st side would also be on the inside of the fence, inside of the sidewalk. And but we would want to see wheel stops on those parking spaces so that nobody is hitting the fence when they pull in.
Okay, Mr. Mumin, do you have that? Are you amenable to that for your parking area?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep. Yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll make sure we have all that written down. Ms. Brown, are you okay with the motion?
I am.
You got everything you need? Great. Go ahead.
Okay, having had a good conversation with the appellant and city planning, regarding the use of this property and plans for Huff Avenue. I move that the board approve office use for this parcel with no outdoor storage, and that we amend the fence proposal to allow for 6 feet fence, 6 feet high. And, well, how about this? 4 feet high along Huff and East 71st Street, and 6 feet high in other areas, and that an amended site plan showing the location and height of the fence be submitted. And with that, that is my motion.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Ms. Barnes with the second. Go ahead, call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm not sure if I heard if Ms. Brown stated that the fence material should be ornamental.
I
She
did
did not. So yes, that's a friendly amendment there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Barnes,
Ms. Barnes, yes.
Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Britt.
Yes.
Calendar number 22-124 is granted conditionally to establish use as a contractor's office with no outdoor storage. We will hold ratification until we receive that updated drawing showing the fencing being 4 feet high and being made of decorative ornamental material. And once we receive that letter, the site plan, we will send the applicant a letter once it's been ratified. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good luck, Mr. Mumui.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, Ms. Holzer, moving on to 129.
All right, calendar number 22. Oh, are we good? I thought someone stopped me. Okay.
The applicant from the last one. Sir, did you have one other question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair, one other question before we get started. I noticed that we have Councilwoman Gray on the call. Did she have I don't see any cases
I don't see
for
any
Ms. Gray.
cases for her. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I thought I had a case today. Thank you. All
No
Thank you. Glad
problem.
to see
I got an email. I had got an email from you guys to be on today. So that's why I got on.
I generally just send it out to everyone in council just to make sure everybody gets an invite so we don't overlook anybody.
Okay, thank you.
We're happy to have you join us for all this morning.
No, I'm fine. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Calendar number 22-129 at 515 East 124th Street. Sharice Frazier proposes to change the use from a 2-family dwelling to a 3-family dwelling in an A1 1-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. And with that, I'll hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply, I do. State your name and your address, please.
I do. My name is Sharice Melton. My address is 1894 Sunset Drive, Richmond Heights, Ohio, 44143.
Thank you. Anyone else for this case?
Good morning. I'm Jasmine Greer. I'm counsel. I won't be testifying, but if necessary, I would be asking questions of the witness.
Who are you representing, Ms. Greer?
Thank you. I represent the owner of the property at 515 East 124th Street, being Sharice Frazier, who was just sworn in.
Okay.
Thank you. Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. We found in our Records Administration Office that in 1911, a permit was issued to erect a two-story dwelling. 1922, a permit was issued to erect a garage. There are no variances on file and nothing of note in the more recent history. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance and an area variance from the minimum lot area regulations of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Melton, go ahead. Tell us what you'd like to do.
Yes, I'd like to convert the attic into a living dwelling for rental purposes.
Okay, and do you have a separate entrance for the third floor? Or that for the tenant can come in and out?
Right, the back door.
And that's separate from the other two entrances?
Correct.
Okay. And just briefly describe what you want to do up there, like what the layout will be.
There's a kitchen, a little kitchenette, a bathroom, a living area, and a bedroom area. So it's like a studio, 1-bedroom apartment.
Okay. And will this unit have separate utilities?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my goal. I have to do this first in order to get the next step.
All right. Okay, Maurice, is it you or someone else from city planning?
It would be me. I wanted to call attention to the fact that Councilman Polensek objects to this. I guess I can read what he has here. I must object to this change. The applicant had not contacted my office, nor do I see the need to create a multifamily unit at this location. Second, the neighborhood is opposed to this as well, and I have heard from several residents on the street who have called to voice their opposition to the change. And so I think with that, I would recommend that we either table this till they can meet with the council person and see if they can overcome his objections. Otherwise, I don't really want to support this at this point in time due to the objections of the councilman.
Okay, Ms. Melton, judging from the letter, have you have not talked to or tried to talk to Councilman Polensek about what you want to do here?
Thank you, Madam. I would speak to that as counsel.
Okay.
That is an oversight on my part. If
Ms. Greer, just always announce who you are before you start speaking, so we'll know.
Thank you. I apologize.
No
This is
problem.
Attorney Jasmine Greer speaking on behalf of the property owner in reference to the opposition from Councilman Polensek. Again, I will admit an oversight on my part. I have a really good relationship with Polensek as well as the Collinwood Nottingham Development Corp. So I think that it would be in our best interest to have a meeting with them before the board would look to side with the councilman and not grant this variance. I also don't see the photographs that my client provided in the evidence that's before the board today. So I think that would help not only the councilman to see what my client has done, because she fully furnished as well as made sure that this dwelling unit was fit for a single resident. So I think it may be important for us to have that meeting. And if the board is inclined to side with the councilman, we would request to table this to your next meeting, please.
Yes, you can officially ask for a postponement, but it definitely will not be our next meeting because we have to re-advertise and go back out. So it will be minimum 30 days.
Okay.
So Liz, can we get a date?
We could squeeze them on the August 29th, or to give councilmen more time, September 12th.
Yeah, I'd say the September 12th, because just due to council being in recess right now, it's a little harder to grab them up versus when they're in the building. So we'll give them September 12th. So Ms.
Madam Chair, may I make one other comment, please?
Sure.
I just would like to share with the appellant and her attorney that in cases, other cases where we've been asked to consider this type of variance, it's usually for a third floor that already exists, not one that's being created. So consider that as you consider your case.
Thank you. I will say that it has been converted. It's actually being occupied by a tenant. My client didn't become aware that she needed a variance until that had already been done. So in fact, someone is living there presently, paying rent, and I've also visited the property. I mean, we have photos that show that it's fully furnished, and so I appreciate that, and I think that's even more reason why we want to table it, so we can show that evidence to the board and the councilman. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll see you September 12th.
Thank you. You all have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
All right, moving on, Ms. Holzer.
All right, so calendar number 22-130 at 2937 West 14th Street. Franklin Stump proposes to change the use of single-family residence to office use for up to 30 persons in a D2 multifamily residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. And with that, I'll hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Thank you. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand. Reply, I do. State your name and your address, please.
I do. Corey Reardon, Tremont West, 2406, Professor. I believe the appellant, Frank, is trying to log in now. I didn't see him on earlier, so I gave him a call. There was a confusion to, he thought it was later on in the day. He's trying to log in now. I told him to give me a call if there were any problems. I'm hoping that he's jumping on now, but he should be on before. If you want to kick it down the calendar, he should be logging on shortly.
Okay. We'll go ahead and read the history of the property and legal standard and see if he gets on by then. If not, we only have one other case, so hopefully he gets on. So go ahead, history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1893, a permit was issued to erect a dwelling, a two-story dwelling. 1911, a permit was issued to erect an auto shed. There was a building addition in 1926. And then we see that there's nothing of note in the more recent history. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Legal standard.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance from the regulations of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
All right, thank you. Maurice, we got any new sign-ins coming in?
Oh, yes, Mr. Stump is, I do see him there.
Great. Ms. Brown, can you swear him in, please?
Yes, Mr. Stump, I am swearing you in for this case. And anyone else who would like to speak, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply I do, state your name and your address, please.
Hello, I do. I would raise my hand. I'm trying to find out how to get my camera to work here.
We see you
You're on
now.
camera.
Please
Am I?
Raise your hand.
Oh, okay.
and state
Okay.
your address, please, and your name.
Franklin Stump, I do. Address is 2929 West 14th Street, Cleveland,
Thank
Ohio,
you.
44113.
Thank you. And Mr. Reardon has already been sworn in, correct? Madam
Correct.
Chair.
All right. All right, Mr. Stump. We've already done the background and legal standard for your case, so tell us what you like to do.
Well, I purchased this property back in January, and I got approached by a business called Manufacturing Works that wanted a more central location for their business, and they wanted a more of a homey feel for their employees and for folks that would come in to interview. So I planned on changing this from the residential property to get a commercial variance in order for Manufacturing Works to move in and complete their business from that address. I didn't plan on making any significant changes to the home as far as structurally goes. They liked the way that the home was laid out since it was a funeral home prior to the prior tenant or owner living there. The house is kind of wide open, so they like the space that way. So that's my plan.
And can you just describe again what the nature of the business that's going in there, what it is?
Sure. Yeah, Manufacturing Works is a business that they do education for businesses on recruitment and retention. They also will interview employees for pretty much all manufacturing businesses, industry in Northeast Ohio. It's a nonprofit business. As far as day-to-day business, a lot of their business is done remotely currently. Since after COVID, I guess a lot of the employees preferred that. They're currently working around the 130th area. So there'll be anywhere from 5 to 10 people there on a day-to-day basis. Usually what the owner told me was probably 7 or 8, or maybe less than that because a lot of people work from home. The business will not be manufacturing anything there. That's just the name of the business because they work in tangent with manufacturing and industry businesses in Northeast Ohio. They would just be basically an office space where they can do trainings and things. Most of their work is kind of remote like this. But yeah, there would be no manufacturing. It'd be office space.
Okay, and what the hours of operation be? What time would they open and close, and on what days?
Usual 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. No
Okay.
weekends or things like that. Okay. Yeah, the most they have one meeting every week, which is a staff meeting where all, I think, 20 employees, but most of those employees, as the owner had told me, most of those employees would be remote there as well. So again, that wouldn't change the number of 5 to 10 people there in person. There may be more people there in person that day for that hour, but after that meeting's over, everyone kind of disperses. So that would be the only time that there would be more than that in the building.
Okay, thank you. All right, Maurice, are you representing city planning today?
Yeah, we have Mr. Reardon on. I'd like to hear what
you want to hear from him
his
first?
opinion
Okay.
is. Sure.
Go ahead, Mr. Reardon.
Madam Chair, Corey Reardon, Tremont West Development Corporation. This did go to Block Club. Block Club was a little strange in that there were only 7 voting members there. It actually was opposed at that point 4-3. It went to the Economic Development Committee of Tremont West based on the history of the property as a funeral home, its location on West 14th. The manufacturing works being formerly CIRI, Cleveland Industrial Retention Initiative, a nonprofit, our comfort level with how they operate. The Economic Development Committee was favorable to the proposal, asked that Frank go back to the neighborhood residents surrounding the area and the people who did vote no to discuss with them what their concerns were and to see if they could find some or get them more comfortable with the proposal, which he did with a number of the neighbors. He has the direct neighbor to the house on the other side. He also have 2 of the no votes changed to yes with letters going to the Economic Development Committee. He came back to the Economic Development Committee, had that discussion with some of the neighbors who were concerned, who then had switched over to being supportive of what Frank wants to do. Frank is the direct neighbor to the one side. He is investing in not only the house that he has, but in the long term, and the neighbors were very comfortable with that. The 2 concerns that neighbors brought up when they first saw the proposal was the idea that this street with this zoning would set precedent and create a commercial zone, and they didn't want that to change around them. There was some misunderstanding of how that works, but then it currently sits in a multifamily 3 height district, which could be way more intensive use than in office use on that site. And so they understood that and said, okay, well, this is a better use. We're restoring a historic property along the street. And then parking, and Frank did a lot of work talking about the parking, and the representatives from Manufacturing Works also came on and discussed that although they have I forget exactly how many employees, 15 to 20 employees, and have meetings and things. Very rarely do they have that many people in the office, maybe for a board meeting, and that was it. So the intensity of the use, allowing for up to 30, isn't consistent with the daily number of people who are in and out of there, generally speaking. So that also gave comfort to the neighborhood residents. And again, at one point it was a funeral home, so it has been a business in the past.
Thank you, Mr. Reardon. And actually, thank you, Mr. Stump, for doing your due diligence around the neighborhood and getting the neighbors comfortable with the use that you want to do. That's reassuring to hear. Maurice?
Madam Chair, yes. So we're looking at a use variance here. And I know that CIRI, or what used to be CIRI, does some very good work for the city, in this area. However, I cannot support the continued use. I could not support using this residence, what could be another house on West 14th Street, as a business. I don't see the practical difficulty here, and knowing the amount of vacant commercial space that we have in the city of Cleveland, I just think that there are many other places where a business like this could be located, as opposed to right in the middle of a residential neighborhood.
All right, thank you. There's no one else signed up, so I'll open it up to my board for any questions.
I do have a question, Madam Chair, for Mr. Stump about how many cars can be parked on the property, and what other plans are there for parking?
So the backyard is actually pretty, as you can see there, it's pretty big. You can fit about 6 cars back there, 8 if you count in the garage, the 2-car garage. I was reading that letter from the neighbor, I believe Mary Benton, that had some concerns about street parking. Street parking here on West 14th. As I was reading saying that it's having a hard time getting out of the driveway during the day. I don't see that. And I live right across the street. I live right next door to this building. I'm looking outside right now. There's one car parked on the street. There are several spots. And as Corey mentioned earlier, and as the owner had told me, you know, there's not going to be that many. I mean, I know a lot of people kind of got freaked out when they read the 30 people or less, you know, change of use letter. There will never be anywhere close to 30 people. Like I said, more like 10, if that. But yeah, so to answer your question, 6 in the back, 8 if you count the garage, and then maybe 1 or 2 cars on the street, but no more than that.
Thank you.
I wish you know, a lot of the I've tried to reach out to a lot of the neighbors, and to my chagrin, really, a lot of the neighbors, really, the ones that had a problem with it, they didn't really want to engage me in a one-on-one conversation, which I thought was strange. You know, I wanted to answer their questions one-on-one. You know, I'm a psychiatrist by trade, so talking to people is something that I do on a regular basis, trying to work these things out. And I was just I guess I was kind of shocked that the complaint was that they were concerned about the people, which I completely get. I definitely get the precedents being set to change all these properties to commercial. I understand that too. But the argument was that they wanted a neighborhood of neighbors, and then they were kind of hesitant to talk to me about it. It will seem kind of hypocritical. But I did reach out to who I could. And yeah, so I guess that's my 2 cents on that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stump. Any other questions from the board?
One more question, Madam Chair. Are there other commercial, are there other properties in this stretch of West 14th that are used for commercial use? Anybody?
I mean, I think Corey would probably be a better person to answer that. I'm not aware of any others. There are commercial buildings on West 14th, but I'm not aware of any commercial use.
Yeah. From my
At least
memory.
not in this block.
Thank you. That's helpful.
There is a commercial use at the northern end where it goes to the bridge overpass of 490, and then at Clark Avenue, there's a number of additional commercial space. And as you get south of Clark Avenue, much of that is a mixed use with businesses and bars and the Christmas Story House mixed in with the residential use. But for this block, there is not a commercial use. There is a large residential building to the north of that, Manhattan Towers.
Yeah, which we can see. And the Community and Economic Development Committee support it.
We support it for, yes, absolutely. We support it based on the neighbor doing this investment, based on its former use as a funeral home, based on other factors that include the zoning allowing for, you know, a much larger presence, and this being a historic rehab, which is very important to the neighborhood in that area. I would assume that, yes, I understand that this is a departure with the commercial use. However, it was zoned commercial at one time or had a commercial use. But if the city were really looking at this as a corridor, it would be rezoned to reflect that with a limited local retail 60 to 110 foot height limitation. So I would assume that the city would pursue these for mixed use buildings in the future anyway, as they go back through as they go and look at their zoning into the future.
I did have one. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies.
Mr. Stump? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, the only question I had was, you know, if this variance is approved, it does get okayed for the commercial use. If the lease runs out or the company's not interested, and I would, I'd have to find out something else to do with the property. Commercial use is not something I'm looking into. I was approached by this company, and that's really the big reason why I'm seeking this variance. But if the company backs out, or if they don't want the lease in the future, or if it runs out, would that still be allowed to have residential use? Because that would be my plan going forward.
Slow down.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. This is the variance for this particular one right now, so we can't speak about the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, board, I don't hear any other questions. I'll entertain a motion.
Okay. Hearing no additional questions from the board after an extensive discussion regarding the proposal for change in use to accommodate manufacturing works use, single company use for office for some of its employees. And having heard of the prior use as a commercial establishment, as a funeral home, and also with the support of the local development corporation, I move approval for the commercial use of, in this case, for this property.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second, and we'll just add the friendly amendment that they have testified to 5 to 10 employees, although the variance will give them up to more than that, and that the office hours will be 9 to 5 Monday through Friday with no weekends. So with that friendly amendment, and we have a second, go ahead, call the roll, please.
Madam Chair, just one question. I think we have the authority to limit the number. So I'm not sure if that is something you want to do, or if you're just putting some note into the resolution. But the board does have the authority to allow a certain number.
Yeah, the board can weigh in on that. I don't, because the neighbors were okay with what he told them, I'm okay with not putting the limit in there. But if other board members will want that, they can chime in now. Hearing none, we'll move forward.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Holzer.
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Ms. Britt.
Yes.
Calendar number 22-130 is granted. It'll be ratified next Monday, and then we will send the appellant a letter.
All right, thank you. Good luck, Mr. Stump.
Thank you so much.
All right. I believe our next case is 133.
All right. Calendar number 22-133, 4521 West 150th Street. Stephen Neal proposes to install approximately 24 linear feet of 6-foot high fence and gate in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. And with that, I'll hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Thank you. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply I do, state your name and your address, please.
I do. Stephen Neal, 4521 West 150th Street, Cleveland, Ohio, 44135.
And ma'am, are you going to testify as well? Give your name.
My name's Connie Neal, 4521 West 150th Street, Cleveland, Ohio, 44135. Thank you.
Thank you both. Anyone else? Okay, Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1948, a permit was issued to erect a dwelling and a garage. In 1978, the garage was demolished and a new garage was erected. There are no variances on file for this address and nothing of note in the more recent history. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting an area variance from the fencing regulation of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. Okay, Niels, tell us what you like to do.
Okay, well, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. We have a gate up right now across, mainly it was up for our dog. They said that we had to take the gate down, so then we wanted to put a 6-foot fence up coming from the back of the privacy fence so we can tie the gate in front. Basically, it's a safety issue for us. We get to let our dog out. She goes out on her own. We have great grandkids. Our whole yard is fenced in. And my husband and myself have medical issues. So it's hard in the wintertime for us to go out, go to the back, open a gate. The gate that is in front right now, everything is fenced in for us. You know, we're willing to put the fence down the side of the driveway to tie the gate in just so like our dog can go out.
Okay, so you want to replace the existing gate that you have right now?
Well, I would prefer just leave the gate up and not have to put a fence up, but they tell me I got to take the gate down, but I would just like to have the gate where it is. I'm sure you can see it in your picture. I can see it on, you know, we are on Main Street. We're right on 150th. So there's a lot of traffic and there's a lot of, you know, people traffic too. So we would prefer just to leave the gate where it is, but if we're not allowed, of course, we would comply with what you say. And if we could just run the privacy fence down from, extend it from where the back or, you know, the chain link or whatever that you decide we could do.
Okay. All right, Maurice.
Madam Chair, I think the reason, and I'm just guessing because I did not, I don't have any knowledge of this, of what actually transpired here, but I think the reason they're probably asking you to remove the gate is it's on your neighbor's property.
Okay, that's what I was looking at. Is it attached to that house or what's going on?
It looks like it's not attached. It looks like it's actually on a pole, but it still looks like it's on their property. Have you had discussions with your neighbor, Ms. Neal?
Okay, now there is like a 2 feet, all these houses on the street, they all kind of like, I call it piggyback. So it's like from every house over to the next one, there's like 2 feet of property like that's in everybody's driveway. Now, I tried to reach the homeowner over there, but she rents the house out to a tenant. And I hardly ever see her because she lives in Brunswick. So she comes around like once a month to collect the rent. But of course, you know, I don't see her every time she comes. But when we did install the gate, I did talk to the tenant over there and told them we were putting a gate up. And I said, do you have a problem? And they said no. But then one time they couldn't get in, I guess, to read the meter. And then, you know, they don't have to get homeowner live there. Anytime they needed to work on their house or anything, I would move our car. You know, we were happy to help them, you know, but so yeah, work with them. Yeah. So it's like, you know, we're not being unreasonable. Anytime anybody needed to come in, we would let them in.
Yeah, ma'am, I don't think that's the issue though. We can't grant you permission to do things on other folks' property. So if that's the case, I think you need to get the your property lines surveyed, but it looks like you're pretty well into the neighbor's area. So if you're willing to move your fence over to ensure that it's in your property, we won't have an issue, but we can't grant you permission to do anything in someone else's property. You understand?
Right, I understand, but if you can see where the privacy fence is on the side there, there's a pole there. That's the property line. And that's where we want to extend the fence down our driveway. That way they have their, 2 foot, and the fence is coming from the back will
Yeah,
be.
yeah, I got you. Maurice, can you pull that picture back up? You're talking about that board on board fence that's in the back there now?
Yeah.
Okay,
You'll
yeah, if you stay
uh,
along your
a
property
metal
and bring
pole
it, yeah, if you stay along your property line and bring that up, I don't think that will be an issue. It's just that your gate right now on on the property side, like it's very well into your neighbor's property. So if you stay along where your board on board fence is right now, I don't think we'll have an issue because that looks like that is definitely your property.
Right, okay, so we can extend the fence down the side and then I'll just move the gate over.
Which is exactly what she has, I believe, Madam Chair, in her plan.
In
Hold
her
on a
plan,
second.
okay, good. All right,
Let me
we
bring
just
that
wanted
back
to
up.
clear that up to make sure you're not doing work on someone else's property, so.
And
right,
yeah, we see that.
Madam
Okay.
Chair,
Yes.
Madam Chair, to Ms. Neal, you're proposing a 4-foot high fence against their house, and then I'm looking at your drawing right here that's on screen. I see somebody wrote in 4 feet. So how tall will the fence be that's next to your neighbor?
They wrote in, it's gonna be the property fence in the back is a 6 foot. We would like to extend the 6 foot down the side of the house and tie the gate into that. That frees up their 2 feet of property. And it doesn't have to be the privacy. I'm willing to put a chain link up or even a white, the white panel, the plastic ones. So as long as you have this foot down the side, whatever, you think would be reasonable.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have no objections to that. And I would leave it up to the applicant to what type of fence she wants to put in. I understand the situation here now. It's unfortunate that we can't allow the other scenario because that actually works better in some ways. But I understand that the access issues and all of that. So I sympathize with what's going on here. So I have no objections to what they're proposing.
All right, great.
Thank you. This is something we grant all the time.
Right. Okay.
And I will state that West 150th is a very, very busy road.
It is. I've taken it often, so it is very busy. All right. Board members, any questions? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I move approval of extension of a 6-foot high privacy fence on the appellant's property line and a 6-foot gate across the driveway as requested.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Second, Ms. Barnes.
Ms. Barnes with the second. Go ahead, call the roll, Ms. Kukla.
Madam Chair, for the record, I would also add in my resolution, if you're fine with this, that the post will need to be pushed into that property line as well.
Yes.
So if that's all right. All right, I will call the roll, Madam Chair. Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
Calendar number 22-133 is granted conditionally. It'll be ratified next week, and we will send the appellant a letter.
All right, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. Have a great day. Thank you.
You too. All right.
Madam Chair, could we officially dismiss those cases or call them again? I don't see anybody new on here.
I don't see anybody new either. Yeah, we will officially dismiss calendar number 22-103 and 22-132. All right, last case, Ms. Holzer.
All right. Calendar number 22-089 at 1127 Parkwood Avenue. Jeraine Jenkins, owner, wants to establish use as residential facility for 5 occupants in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. And with that, I'll hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply, I do. State your name and your address, please. Is there an applicant for this case? Appellant, excuse me.
Madam Chair, as a reminder, if you're on the call, please use *6 to unmute yourself.
We have some lovely times, but no appellant. Okay, going once, going twice, dismissed. Calendar number 22-089 is dismissed. All right. We got old business.
Oh, sorry. I was typing a response to somebody.
No problem. All right, old business 1 through 4 without objection, board.
Without objection.
All righty. That's it for today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
everybody.
good
Relatively,
week.
Thank you.
relatively quick meeting. We like it.
Yes.
And good job, Nina.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
love to be able to show people that I know how to read.
Very good job.
that's awesome. Well, and unfortunately, when you do a good job, it's officially your job. So we will
Okay.
Yeah.
we will
Yeah, you
relieve
should have
Miss
not
Faith
done
of
such a good job.
We'll release Miss Faith of double duty, and that will be your duty now.
I'm
And
happy to read cases.
yes,